wow. He said that's gonna be number one. And it sure looks amazing. And when you scan the QR code, it's gonna talk about how I can share it and get more orders for people and friends. And this is what I love social media. Social media is one of my pet tools. I'm welcoming the blessings of ChatGPT, AI, and it makes us do things in this timeline in history that we didn't do before. Especially when you're a startup business and you're trying to grow and expand, and you have a small budget. You don't have a big staff. You're just trying to grow and expand and go to the next level. I'm telling you, ChatGPT, AI has already changed the game. It levels the field. It gives us opportunities to do things that, used to cost hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars. We're able to do. Hello, everybody. This is David Evans, President of Pick TV Network. We have a hot show today here on Pick TV, and I want to thank everybody for watching our show today. I have my friend, man, I think we've been friends for almost 40 years or more, and I want to give God praise for the gift of Apostle Benjamin Peterson from the Greater Bible Way Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's my special guest on today. And I want to say thank you for joining me today, my good friend for many, many years. Hey, how you doing, Pastor Pete? Hey, thank you for coming in today, man. We've been friends down through the years, and I want to thank you. We're going to be talking about some greater things, some amazing things that you've done on the broadcast. So let's get right into it. Doc, I want to say thank you for coming on, first of all, Pick TV. We've been trying to catch you for a while. We've been trying to get you on for a while. Now you are finally here, and I want to thank God for the opportunity to have you on Pick TV. How's things in Philadelphia?
All is well. We're here at the Greater Bible Way Temple, 255 Sharon Avenue, Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, at our Sharon Hill campus. And I declare church alive is worth the drive. And my motto for the last 9 years, things just got better.
Yes, sir, man. I want to thank you for being a servant, man. Down through the years, you've been blessing people, man. I can remember back in the 80s, we used to come together and come to the headquarters church in D.C. and fellowship and bless people, man. Now you are doing some amazing things. Let's get right into the heart of this broadcast today, Apostle Peterson. And I want to talk about your calling. Tell everybody about your calling to ministry.
Well, I was blessed to have parents, Bishop and Mother Peterson. My father pastored 36 years before my pastoring. I received the Holy Ghost at 7 years old, and I played the organ for the church. And my ministry was music. And I went to Fisk University at Nashville, Tennessee, and was there for 2 years. Came home and went to Cheney and graduated. And in the midst of that, I felt a call for my life. And one Sunday morning, my father had to go to South Carolina for a funeral for my cousin, and he was going to call a preacher in to preach. And I said, "I'll preach." And I don't know why I said that or what came on me, but he just said, "Okay." And I preached that Sunday morning without my father being there or any other ministers, because the other ministers, Bishop Gibbs and other ministers, were members of our family, and they were going to South Carolina for this funeral. And that's how I ended up in the pulpit preaching. And after I finished preaching, I said, "God, did I really do that?" Because ministry music, I played the organ, and I just enjoyed playing the organ and singing and praising God.
Man, Doc, and you talking about an organ player, Doc? You could make that thing scream B flat, C minor, C major, F sharp, man, everything. And being a servant in church is a blessing, Doc. And I want to thank you for many many years being a servant. Let's talk about this is your calling. Let's talk about your career. What was you doing before preaching, or some of the things that you were out there doing in the working world?
Insurance agent for Metropolitan Insurance Company for a number of years. I was successful, off to the Million Awards, selling life insurance, annuities, and things of that sort, investment accounts. And I was just blessed doing that. And then I finished my education. I was supposed to be teaching school because me and my wife, we graduated from Cheney University in the same year. She graduated in 1985, December. I came out in May. So I was going to teach and just enjoy the Lord all summer, but that was my career. And then what happened was our church was blessed to purchase a complex at 52nd and Bibleway Street. Back then it was 52nd and Media. And I helped my mother with the day camp for that summer. And when September came, my mother said, "You can have the day camp." And I turned the day camp into a daycare. And I managed the daycare for the church for 29 years. I had up to 104 children in that daycare center in our school building. And that's how I became full time in ministry. And after that, so let me say this, after that, I was just blessed because the church voted me to be my father's successor. And then years later, he decided he was going to retire. And in 1994, I became the pastor of the Greater Bible Way Temple. What an honor it was, because my father wasn't sick. He was very healthy. He was still preaching. And he just felt like it was a time for the next generation to take his place. And that's how I became the pastor in 1994. I was 40 years old. I had just finished serving as the youth president of the Bible Way Churches Worldwide, which I served Apostle Michael Rogers. I was his vice president when he was president. And then I became the president of the International Young People's Union. And 1994, I was installed pastor. And what a wonderful time it has been. And I would always say to myself, this is not the end of my story. God
Wow.
is still my story.
You know, down through the years, man, and watching you bless people, and look at your dad up there holding you, man.
And
That's
that picture, it's really, is holding me and my two brothers, but I didn't get their permission to put their picture on Pick TV, so I cut them out, and it's just me and Dad.
Wait, man, I'm so proud of you, man. I want to go into, we talked about the calling, the career, the cost, Doc. What did it cost you, man? Because you've been in full-time ministry for a long time. Talk about the cost.
Well, I believe when I think about the cost, I have to say this: God had the thought in eternity. He projected into time, and then he allows us and prepares us. He allows us to do it, but he prepares us to do it, and he prepares us to um, not just count the cost, but know that God is in control. And my wife, she taught school, and she was a school teacher for 29 years, almost 30 years. And it was a cost. It was a great cost because I could have went and continued to teach in the public school system, a music teacher, but I chose to lead God's people, and it's been a wonderful time. But when I look at the cost, I look at it different than others. Dad was a businessman and he was an investor. He believed in the church doing something every day, not just on Sunday. So I was blessed to have the daycare. I was blessed to be over the housing program. I was able to be over the program for the homeless shelter that we had there on the complex. So it wasn't really a financial cost, even though I gave up a lot, but it was a cost of my time and my energy. And I want to tell anybody that goes in ministry, uh, it's not always a financial cost. Many times it's your time and your energy. And when I look back over my life, all I can say it's been a wonderful ride. God has been good to me, and I can declare all my life, God has been faithful. And
Yeah.
I had a dream that God would bless the church, that it would not always have to depend on tithes and offering. And we invested in property, we invested in apartment building, and it was a blessing to have finances and funds to finance the ministry. So I'm just so thankful to the Lord that God has given me the opportunity to lead His people, and we've been marvelously blessed.
Yes, sir. I want to get into now that we talked about the calling, the career, the cost, the challenges, to come through what you've been through. And we're going to show some pictures up here. And I want you to tell a story. A lot of people watching us today don't understand that you have been through a situation where the church was literally burnt down to the ground, Doc. And I need you to tell everybody about that experience, about having the church burnt down to the ground. And how was that psychologically on you? You know, to know that you were in a building that burnt down to the ground.
It was a real great pressure on me because when the church burnt down, we were having work done on our roof, and they were torching down the rubber around the top of the roof, and the fire uh, hit that copper, and copper is a conduit, and it went around the whole top of the church. I was in the church sleep, waiting to
Wow.
give the roofer the check for the work done. And man, I walked out to give him the check, and he said, "I'm on." He said, "But get me some water." I said, "Oh my God, no, no, no!" And the church, it just started burning down. And while it was burning down, God somehow He gave me peace in my spirit, and I hands to heaven. God be the glory. And I said, things just got better. And I just believed it. And that's the picture of the fire at the church. It burnt down to the ground, and tears were in my eyes. And the devil said, "You were on the top of the world, but you're on the bottom." The devil said, "It's over." And psychologically, it hit me because every night I couldn't hardly sleep, wondering, what am I going to do? But God was gracious and kind that He kept my mind in the midst of it all. That's the picture of the old church. And it's just a beautiful building. If one ever goes online to see how beautiful that facility was. And it hit me psychologically also, Bishop, because when we went to 52nd Street, my dad was so happy that he had a son in ministry that he let me do everything in the building I wanted to do. I picked the carpet, I picked the colors, I picked the color of the pews, I picked the rostrum. He let me do everything but the height of the pulpit because I like low pulpits so I can jump off the pulpit. Dad like Dad wanted to be seen, but psychologically it was a. But God was gracious and kind. And let me say this: in the midst of all that, while they're looking at that picture,
Go ahead,
the
babe.
building burning down, one of my evangelists, and I said, "I need a tent." And she called and ordered us a tent, and we purchased a tent, or released a tent rather. And I lifted my hands. I had one request while that building was burning down. I said, "God, if you would help me keep the people together." That's the only
Mm.
thing I asked. I didn't ask him for another building. I didn't ask God for a complex. I didn't ask God to help us build a new church. All I wanted God to do is help me to keep the people together, because he said, upon this rock, I'll build my church, not I'll build a building.
Wow.
He said, I'll build my church. And the church is the body of believers, group of believers that have one mind and one judgment and one desire, and believing that it's one God in all, above all, and through you all. And so that's all I asked God for, because the church burnt down, but the people stayed together. In a few
And
minutes, the
you-
picture of the before we get there, there's some pictures that will come up about the tent, but this picture is the new church,
wow.
255 Sharon Avenue. That's the new building where we're at now, and God has just been marvelously blessed.
And,
That's the side.
and
That's the
Bishop, to be able to be in a to fast forward blessings, man, to see what it was burnt and now you've rebuilt. Nobody but God, man. Look at that.
and let me tell you, God was so good that He even blessed us to have insurance. Uh, our insurance premium was $32,000 a month, and time for the insurance company to write the check. They wanted to know how could we afford $32,000 a year for insurance. $32,000 a year for the insurance. And I told them, because we had no payroll. We paid our insurance. Now,
Wow.
2.5 million. That's opening day 2022. July, June 11th, 2022, when we cut the ribbon of the complex. Now stay right there for a second. I got to tell you this. We were trying to build a new church. We had enough money. We could not build because the pandemic came. The
Yep.
pandemic came amidst this, and all my friends that city council and the mayor, they couldn't, we couldn't get permits because they had to approve the plans. Well, in the meantime, the Lord told me, don't give the contractor any money until you get all the permits. And we held on to the money. Well, I called a realtor and he said, I know a complex that's available in Sharon Hill. I said, I don't want to go to Sharon Hill. You got to be out of your mind. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. Finally, 2 weeks later, I went, and when I got out there to Sharon Hill, I called him. I said, I want it. He said, I told you it was available. I didn't tell you it was for sale. So the Archdiocese really didn't want to sell us the complex. So every day I would walk around this complex every single day from August 2021 to April 2022. Every day I walked around this complex. The last week I walked around this complex, I said, God, if I found favor in your sight, hear my heart cry. And I looked up and smiled and laughed. And I said, things just got better. And when I called them, they said, we'll sell you just the church. I said, we want all or none. We want the church. We want the convent. We want the rectory. We want the schoolyard. We want the school. And when I sat with them and told them what we would offer, they said yes. We purchased the whole complex cash, never had a mortgage on this complex. And we've been here for 4 years.
Wow. And that nobody but God, as you stated, Bishop, it's a miracle, man. I can't wait to come up there and to see from the burnt to the blessing. Now, we got some more pictures I want you to talk about this, Bishop. You got a collage of pictures here.
Have the apartment building. After being in our building for 2 years, last year, we purchased that apartment building across the street. 5 apartments in
What?
it.
5.
5 apartments in the apartment building, and all the tenants that were in it stayed. We purchased that cash. That's the apartment building. Then you see the school building. Then you see the playground, the children's playground.
Wow. Wow. I'm blown away.
Who has 20 classrooms and a gymnasium? I can't wait. Whatever Sunday you come, you're gonna preach.
I know, Bishop. What is this right here, Bishop? What is that? Oh wow, we got Bishop to come back in a second. He'll be back in a minute, folks. And then we just happy for the opportunity to see the blessings of the Lord and how Bishop has a miracle testimony. You back, Bishop? We can hear you. We
That's
can hear
the
you. The
school
school bill.
building, right? 20 classrooms, gymnasium, and
Wow.
we lease it to a charter school. We lease it at
Wow.
Berry. We put in new chairs, carpet, had the place painted, new lights, sound system, sight and sound. We have LED walls on both sides. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. And I see this, Bishop. Is that a little banquet hall or something here?
story. Our church is next door to another church,
Okay.
and purchased it. I went over and told the man, I said, if you ever sell this building, we want it. He was 85 years old. I preached a funeral, and he sold us the building, and we turned that into an event center. That's our banquet facility.
What?
That's our
Wow.
banquet.
You
It
you,
it
you know I love to eat, man. So I want some chicken when I come.
right, chairs and tables and everything. It holds. It has 2 floors, 150 people. That's the sight and sound. That's where everything is done for the sound system, for the LED walls, for the Facebook Live, and all of that. That's the back of the church right there.
So you have a studio. A studio. It's a studio.
That's the hallway of the church.
Wow. Wow. Then no wonder you praising God.
That's one Sunday after we first moved in, and all I could do is say, all my life, God has been faithful.
Mm. Nothing, nothing but a miracle, Bishop. We're going to take a commercial break, folks, and we're going to be back with watching the preacher's life. And we have the great Bishop and Apostle Benjamin Peterson from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's on today. And guess what? He just told us about how his church burnt down to the ground and how God blessed him to rebuild and to have more. What a miracle testimony this man of God has. We'll be right back after this. Thank you for looking at Pick TV. Okay, let's get this going.
Hey everyone, this is big. I want everyone to download the Pick TV network on your Roku search bar. My brother David Evans is growing Pick TV fans, and I want us to help my brother blow up Pick TV. Boom! Click and play www.thepicktvnetwork.com. Bomb.
Hey everybody, this is a special presentation on the Pick TV network today. It's a show that I created from scratch called A Preacher's Life. And this is one of my first shows 5 years ago. And I'm so happy today for the first time to have on Apostle and Bishop Peterson, my friend Benjamin Peterson from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was just talking about how his church burnt down from the ground and how he rebuilt. You guys saw it for yourself. It's a miracle that we're seeing here and hearing his testimony here on the PIC TV network, A Preacher's Life. Bishop, I want to show some more pictures of some of the great things that God has done through you, and how the Lord has blessed your life, and some great champions. You got some people who you've
Yes.
been looking up to all of your life, and you've been mentored and you've been advised and you've been coached by. Let's start right here with one of the greatest preachers in the world. And not only have you been blessed by him, but I've been blessed by him down through the years.
Woody Williams, what a blessing. Apostle Williams laid hands on me
What?
and told me that God would provide.
Wow. Bless the Lord. Bishop, remember the book, This Is My Story?
And he tells his story and he gives us from the fire plug to the temple.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what about the books that he has, Bishop? Remember, this was way back in the day.
Yes, yes. That's in Bible Way News Voice.
Hmm.
We've been several times and they would highlight different things that happen in government, in the nation's capital, and also in the Bible Way churches worldwide.
Wow. Now I got to go to another great man who blessed your life.
And a preach
Yeah. Yes, sir.
that the Chief Apostle Huey Rogers, the
And how long have you been serving in ministry under him, Doc?
almost 50 years.
Wow. And you
50 years honor whenever he come to Philadelphia. I would take him shopping, take him to go. I traveled with him to England. I traveled with him to Jamaica. I've traveled with him to Canada, just him and I. And I've had one-on-one private time with him that I'll treasure for the rest of my life.
he's a legend, man. We get one in every generation. Every
Right.
generation. Apostle Huey Rogers, Doc, he blessed my life. I couldn't have been over 12 years old going to Bible Way when we were young and hearing him preach at the Bible Way convention. And then he went cross denominations. He would preach at the Church of God in Christ. He would preach at the full gospel, apostolic, Greater Mount Calvary. Everybody loved Bishop Rogers.
That's right.
Great man of God. Now we got to talk about the great, the
Brother
awesome. Go ahead, Doc.
serves as our presiding prelate. He has served our church for the last years as presiding bishop. He's been a two-term presiding bishop. He served our church as vice presiding bishop. He served as assistant presiding bishop. He served our church as youth president. And he's a mighty man of God, songwriter, singer, preacher. He's preached across the country, and God has blessed him. And we're very proud to declare that he is our presiding bishop. We'll be in March. We'll be in Trenton, New Jersey, and he will be giving his keynote address on Wednesday night, on Thursday night, March the 26th, for our 69th Workers Conference of the Bible Way Churches Worldwide. It'll be in Trenton, New Jersey, at Apostle A. Phil Parrott will be hosting it, and he brought a wonderful, beautiful complex there, Catholic complex. He has a church, the school, the rectory, parking. So you want that's 50 Smith Street, Trenton, New Jersey, the 25th, 26th, and 27th of March.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Matter of fact, we'll try to post that up there. You know, when you get a chance to be with Apostle Rogers and that anointing jump on you like Elisha and Elijah, it stays on you, Doc.
Yes, what a blessing he has been, and he's 91 years old.
Wow. Wow, and still preaching.
Still preaching, still pastoring, and he's still strong. God has blessed him.
Mm-hmm. And down through the years, Doc, we got to give a lot of love out to the builder, your dad and your mom, man.
Dad and mom started the church in 1958 with no members. They purchased a building, 756 South 3rd Street, their first building, and they led our church for 36 years. And he was a builder, an investor. God blessed him. He had apartment houses, he had property. Um, he used to be a blessing to the church. And mom just, she just pushed everybody, me and dad. She would say, "Go ahead, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, whatever I wanted to do." At the old church in a view. And mom said, "Go ahead, you can do it." And she was a praying woman. God knows she prayed, and she was a blessing to our family. I have two brothers and two sisters, and my wife. We've been married for 47 years, and mom she was just a blessing. She was a jewel.
Yeah, you only get one man, one mom, and one dad in a lifetime, man. And I'm so thankful that you kept the ministry going and you was faithful down through the years, and God honored that, man. I mean, because you hung in there and you didn't give up. It's a lot of people from DC moving to the suburbs, they moving out, leaving the hood. But Doc, you still working to get souls saved right there in that area in Philadelphia, man. And I'm so proud of you. You know, and every time I call you, you're always working. You're always keeping it going.
And that's a blessing to be to. I give God the glory. To God be the glory for all that He's done. I'm 71. He's kept my body healed. I'm not on any medication, no health challenges. God is faithful. God is faithful. Those are pictures of the apartment building. We have a cafe in our church in the lobby. We have a cafe where we give out free popcorn, crispy, free Krispy Kreme donuts. We give out free water. Then that's the conference room next to it. And that's the administration building on the bottom left. And that's the school building in the middle.
Wow, man, this is nothing but a miracle, man.
This is the Miracle Bridge. We built the bridge from the church to the event center where you see those tables. You don't have to go down the steps. You can go out the side door of the church and go right across the Miracle Bridge and go right into the event center where we have banquets and wedding receptions and funeral repasts and birthday parties and wedding anniversaries, conferences in that building. We hosted the workers' conference last year here on our the whole the whole day, every day. We hosted it. We fed everybody. Nobody paid for their food. We fed them a full banquet style,
Wow.
tablecloths, chair covers, and table runners, and salmon and lamb chops, and you name it. That God is, and I'm thankful for the people that God has given me to help me
Yes,
bless
sir.
God.
Yeah. I love to see that basketball court and the playground for the kids, man.
Yes,
That that means a lot. And God saw the future. When the devil said it was over, how can you believe, man, it just blows my mind, Pete.
that's that's an area view that the helicopter took that view, that picture, while the church was burning down, and you see the hoses shooting toward the temple. But God was still writing our story,
Yes, sir.
on writing our story. And you know what God did? I preached not long ago. He took the misery out of our memory, that now we can look back and smile and say, yoo-hoo, if it had not been for the
Mm.
Lord who was,
Yes, sir.
God took our memory. That's the new building, and that's the event center next to it. That's the church building on Sharon Avenue. We're 2 miles from Philadelphia International Airport.
Wow. Look at that, Doc. Just look at that.
That's the side, that's the terrace. In the summertime, I have chairs and tables and umbrellas out there on that area that saints can go out and just sit and have coffee and tea and donuts before morning worship.
Mm. Doc, I mean the before and after blessing, Doc, to be able to see from one place to only God could have done that. Because you could have just threw in the towel and said, you know what, I can't take this. And you could have just rolled out and said, you know what, I'm done. But
Yeah.
God saw a bigger vision. God saw not just the burning part. God saw the blessing. Look at the before and after, Doc.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
He
I'm
saw,
not done.
and a lot of people get trapped in transformation. They only look at one phase of the blessing. They don't see the other thing that God saw at the end. God saw another building, beautiful.
Ephesians 3:20 says, now unto him that's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or think in his name, according to the mighty power of God. His
Yeah,
power at work. And I always say, I will be at the right place at the right time. People will go out of their way to be good to me and kind to me because I am surrounded by God's favor.
yes,
And
sir.
we just that Psalms 41:11. When you look at the sanctuary, all I can say is, by this I know God has favored us
Yes,
because He
sir.
has the enemy of unbelief, the enemy of doubt, the enemy of fear to triumph over us.
And he saw you cutting the ribbon, Doc. While you was people was looking at the other side. God saw you cutting the ribbon.
That's true.
He saw you, man, the whole time. And I'm so happy, man, for you and how you blessing people, Doc, with the gifts that God has given you. And to know that you're a holistic ministry. Now I know why. I see you raising your hands and thanking God, Doc.
I promised God if He would bless us when just before they said yes to sell us the facility, I said, God, if you bless us, whenever we can, we'll bless someone else. We we're doing almost 45 funerals a year on
Wow.
this facility. We had over 52 funeral repasts last year. Sometimes we do a funeral twice a week, and we just open our doors to others and let them know that this is the Lord's house, and we're
Yeah.
thankful. And
Yeah.
God gracious and kind.
You've been a blessing to so many people, man, and I want to thank you for coming on Pick TV. I can't wait to come up there and we do a live interview with me and you, man. It's gonna be off the chain, man.
Thank
As the young people say.
you. Last year, the Lord uh, allowed me to write a small book, 30 Days of Gratitude of Prayers. And in it, it has a prayer for each day in the 30 days with scripture. And I've been selling the book for a $5 donation. They told me I should sell it for 10, but I want people to have it. And I've given away a few hundred copies. And and in it, one day it says, "Thank God for His faithfulness." Another day it says, "Thank God for His church." Another day it says, "Thank God for wisdom." Another day it says, "Thank God for provision." Another day it says, "Thank God for my children." Thank God for His word. Thank God for His peace. Thank God for His freedom. Thank God for the blessings of the Lord that make it rich and add no sorrow. That's a picture of one of our members' wedding
Mm,
table, and they were able to have a wedding for a few $1,000s, and people thought they spent it 35,000.
wow. Wow. And it
We
feels
own the. It's a gorgeous room. That's it again. We have a room upstairs and downstairs. Upstairs seats about 160. Downstairs seats about 60.
Wow. And to have your
Uh,
own, it's a blessing to have
um,
your own.
Amazing. All I can say is things just got better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I love you. We're gonna do part two, folks. This is the special broadcast today. Pastor Peterson has been on Pick TV Network, and we can't wait to have him on. And then, Doc, you got to give some shots out to some of your family, the wife, man, and some more folks. Come on, give some shots out, Doc, before you leave.
Thank my wife, 47 years, for standing by my side, my two sons and my two daughters that have been a blessing, and then their children. And I thank God for those that were part of our journey, those that prayed for us when the church burnt down because they showed it on national TV. I received phone calls from Jamaica, England, Canada, Washington, Baltimore, New York, all over the country. And I believe somebody prayed and asked God to help us. And I want you to know, I appreciate your prayers. You are part of our journey. And I declare, no matter what you're going through, I want to encourage other pastors, don't you bury your dream. Don't you give up. Look up and declare things just got better.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank my brother for so many years, man. We've been talking about coming on Pick TV Network, and you made it on Pick TV. And we're gonna have to do a special show. I'm gonna come up there. We're going to bring the cameras and the crew up there to do something big, man. Because Doc, you have touched the lives of so many people down through the years, man. And man, we love you first of all, and we thank God for you. And we're gonna see you again on Pick TV, folks. Don't forget Apostle Peterson. Tell them where the church is located again, Doc.
Greater Bible Way Temple, 255 Sharon Avenue, Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania. And I declare a church alive is worth the drive. Bishop, I want to thank you for allowing the Lord to use you for this dream that God has put in you to come true, that you might bless others. Because so many times great leaders do great things, but rarely is it written down, rarely is it pictorial, pictures of it, and let alone being on TV where others can go back and see what the Lord has done.
Well, I
Thank
thank you for being, man, just for being my friend down through the years. You know, we go back to the '80s, man. I can remember every time we see each other, man, we go and hug and show each other love. And man, you always the hospitality is this off the chain, man. When we get together, we're gonna talk about how we grew up in holiness. I can't wait till we do that show because we could do certain things. We could drink strong drinks. Now we couldn't even drink Coca-Cola. Remember that, Pete?
you all, but it was good for us.
Yes, it was.
It was good that we were afflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Because it allowed us to get to know the God that we
Yes, sir.
serve.
Yes, sir. And helped us to get to where we are today and preserved us,
Yes,
so down through the years, we are still here. And we're just so thankful for this opportunity to have a television network to bless people from all walks of life. Please look at the repeat, those who are watching right now. And again, we're going to do part two. We're going to bring Apostle Peterson back in, and we're going to do something special again with him. And we have some of the parishioners to come on too to talk about the stories and his life story on Pick TV. We'll see you in the next program.
Okay.
Girl, we are so happy. The president of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, Tell me, you have more events like this. Talk about it.
Well, we've had 2 so far this year in Silver Spring, and we like working with our legislators, but this is a very special one because it's with our new U.S. Senator Angela Also Brooks. And when she heard about it, she wanted to do one here in Prince George's County.
Wow, I'm so proud of you and your team.
Yeah.
You know, and we need this today. With people going through mental health, losing jobs, this is amazing. Talk about some of the groups that are here today.
Oh my goodness, we have a number of we have 7,000 businesses that are part of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce network. And I know West Banco is here. One of our board members is from West Banco. And Employ Prince George's, actually, Walter Simmons is a member of our board of directors also. So we've been working in conjunction with Employ Prince George's, various different businesses here within the state, especially here in Prince George's County, and working with Senator Also Brooks' office to bring jobs to the folks that live here.
And we need that. In 2025, with so many people going through situations, circumstances, this is an outlet. It's a place to come to and get help,
Right.
resources. Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you.
No, this is the thing that we should do. Our members need great employees, and why not put everybody together in the same room to get jobs?
Yeah. Well, promise me you come back on Pick TV.
Okay, I promise.
Matter of fact, we're going to give you a show. We're going to give her a show on Pick TV Network. Thank you so much.
You're very